Hey Lambdog, barking madly here. Thanks for that video. That was really cool. I hadn't really thought about the corrosion aspect, the sulfates and all that you were talking about. I mean, I used to work as an auto mechanic for a while, and all you do is look at the terminals of car batteries, and you can see all the sulfate salts that you were talking about. Definitely a big deal. I hadn't thought about that. One other thing for folks that are thinking about doing that, though, watch out for hydrogen. That's actually the one another one you need to worry about. That's more of a short-term problem. If you have good ventilation, it's not usually an issue, but if you have something in an enclosed space like the battery well of a boat or maybe a battery box in a car, in addition to giving off the sulfates, they also give off hydrogen gas, and that's explosive. So you have that in an enclosed area, and you have a spark from a battery connection or a switch, and you have kaboom. Another thing to think about. But what I was actually thinking about was more for the folks like DeSardi1, Southern Prepper, and any of the other folks that are on the, in this type of deal, that are looking at extended periods of time without access to manufactured goods, 6 months, a year, longer. Because what I was thinking about for those guys was, what happens, they're relying on solar, wind, and whatnot for their battery or for their power, but the battery's only going to be good for so long. I know that the more complete discharge you do of a battery, the shorter the useful life of it. And at some point they're going to need to be replaced. And if you need to replace them and there's not an auto parts store to go to, or or wherever to buy your batteries, instead of being SHTF or WROL, you're SOL. And that's mainly what I was thinking about with the batteries that have the electrolyte in one, in a bottle, and just the emptied cell by itself, because those I think would have essentially an infinite storage life or shelf life. So if you're into that type of thing, you store 5 gallons of electrolyte and you store 5 to 10 empty batteries, and you look at your electrical system and your batteries go south, you have another option for that. So, generally I'm not, like I said, I'm not too worried about it. Not the kind of thing I really concern myself with. The most I've got is I'm working on a shed light system, and bought a couple of, from Amazon and stuff. Got a couple of these. They're little solar lights. They are pretty shitty. It actually looks a little brighter than it is. They're about 30 or 40 bucks, but they give you less than an hour's worth of light. And if you have anything, they're fine if you put the light right over the desk that you're working at. But anything, if you're trying to do like a 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 room and have enough light to do anything by, they're pretty much worthless. So what I found was actually a headlight. It's an LED headlight for work equipment. I think it's Northern Hydraulics but anyway, I'll be putting up a video on my other website my other YouTube channel about it. But got a little sealed gel cell battery here, and got who makes it? Coleman has an 18 watt, but I don't know whether this kind of puts into perspective. Puppy's bright. Only problem is this costs 30, 40 bucks. The battery's cheap, it's only 16 bucks. The solar cell's about 70, and this is about 60. So not cheap, but at any rate. So for my purposes, I'm not so worried about worrying about long-term solar for lead acid. Solar doesn't make sense for me right now. I've actually thought about you can get these solar shingles. They're actually, you can punch holes in them, but that's for when I have some money. Was mainly thinking, in terms of longer term stuff for other folks. And that was one of those things I came up with, a way of actually storing batteries long term and have them basically at the pouring of a quart or half gallon of liquid into them, they're essentially good to go. Again, you seem a little bit unsure whether they're available or not. I sure as heck don't know, although maybe marine batteries or some of the I know we've got a couple of battery-powered forklifts and floor cleaners at work, and I know they've got the lid popped on one of them. It definitely has the caps that you can pop it open, so maybe you can get that stuff. One of the things, if you want to try to buy sulfuric acid, you're going to get yourself on a list. If you look at a certain book that talks about anarchy and cooking, sulfuric acid is one of the 2 major ingredients you need to make stuff that goes boom. The other one being nitric acid and whatever you want to do, cellulose, glycerin, or toluene, or anything like that. But at any rate, so if you could find something that was truly, purpose-made what do you call it, electrolytes, that you didn't have to worry about getting in trouble with the powers that be, you know, getting yourself on some list or something like that. This you know, if you get the electrolyte, I don't know, but anyway, I'm rambling. Have a good night, and I have tomorrow off. Monday? What's that? President's Day? Something? I don't know. Anyhow, cheers. Happy Sunday.